what the organization will have, let's say we have 4 stewards,
Right,
just for argument's sake.
okay,
We got 4 stewards there. Somebody on the beach saying, hey, they're violating this contract. My steward should know the contract back, and everybody's gonna get a copy of this.
Sure.
Everybody's gonna get a little pocket one, so instead of reading whatever magazine they do during the day or night, read your contract, know your contract. So when somebody says, hey, Brian, there's a violation here, and Brian's gonna look into it, and he might not even have to call me, like, most of my stewards don't even call me unless it's really egregious, that the chief says, absolutely not. So Brian will go in there and say, hey, chief, can I talk to you about this for a minute? And that's the informal thing we talked about, and he might be on duty doing it. And what if he can't get a hold of me? I'm out of town, or I'm out of state, I'm out of country, or I'm at a I'm at another arbitration, or I can't get away from. I'm just asking somebody. It wouldn't be 4 stewards going into it. It'd be one guy, and it's usually the chief steward. If he can't handle it, he'll talk to somebody else. But he might be on duty, and it's something that you might want to get handled right away. It's just the cost of doing business.
Yeah, we have to take it under advisement.
Yeah, we are.
Affairs investigation, there's
Mhm.
certain statutory confidentiality issues, so we have to look at how that plays in.
but you'd like something, if we come back with something, you would like something, you'd like us to come back with something in our Article 4.
Yeah, just
Okay.
say the stewards may be on duty, should be able to handle contract problems, should be
So-
grievances.
Well, I'm just trying to, understand. So you're making a distinction, you're not talking about like one of our internal affairs investigations where everything is not public record or is confidential until it's completed. You're talking about union issues that pop up where you're not available.
On a day-to-day basis, him going into the chief, he's on duty, going in to see, hey Ray, I got a problem with this. Can we talk about it informal? Or NIAs too, because he's the one that's gonna call me, and he already has about an IA. They say, Gary, there's an IA coming up, I need you to sit in.
When Dave Vanis starts an IA, and then Dave Vanis has interviews set up, and you know, if the person wants a rep, or if they want somebody, then what Gary's proposing is, if he's in Kissimmee or he's tied up doing something and he can't be here, then one person would be, one of the stewards, one of the lists that we have would be designated. And if they're on duty, then we would arrange for them to be covered while they're on duty so that they could go and participate as a rep. Am I correct in that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
And interviews go no more than, I've never seen one go over more than 2 hours. Because you know how it is, it's narrow, specific in questions, and the scope can only be of the issue. So, and Dave's a real guy to work with scheduling, but things happen. I just want that officer to get a representation that he needs over life.
Okay. Let's take that back and confer on that. All right?
Okay.
But using our Article 4, correct?
Yes.
And you just want us to write something in our Article 4? Okay.
I mean, and that's, it's, I think you already got it in there. Like 403, I mean,
It's not quite written how you want it, or how you proposed, or is that satisfactory language?
well, let's read it from the top, 401. The union shall designate 6 employees in the county beach safety division to represent all bargaining unit employees for the purpose of handling grievances and dealing with management on matters of interpretation of this agreement. It shall be the responsibility of the union to notify the human resources director and the beach safety director in writing the names of the aforementioned employees. So we already talked about that. 402, only 1 employee designated shall be permitted to attend without loss of pay the county council meeting where final action is scheduled to take on approval of a collective bargaining agreement to succeed. That's okay if you want to put that in there. I don't know why he would want to go, because it's usually already done deal. The county council, they're just an affirmation of the contract, that's all that. The last one is, the 6 employees designated pursuant to section 401 above shall be permitted reasonable access for reasonable periods of work to work locations of the beach safety to handle specific grievances and matters of interpretation of this agreement. The exercise of such access right by such designated employee shall not interfere with their duties or the duties of other employees. No more than one on-duty employee shall be permitted to attend a grievance meeting or any other non-bargaining meeting scheduled with management. Well, I think all you have to add in there is also attend internal affairs investigations, interviews. I mean, he's not in the investigation, he's just there to represent. I think if you add that, and everybody's good over there with that, I mean, I'm really good with it. And just for education purposes, if there's day off, now I know David had a hard and fast rule, only one person in the room, but from my experience, and maybe I can work it out with him, that a second chair in there, we don't participate in the investigation at all. We don't participate in the interview at all. At the end, they ask us if we have anything to say, and that's the right way to do it, because I also went to the same school he did, the godfather of all IA, Bill LaCory. If you don't know who he is, he was the chairman of the Standing Training Commission, sharpest guy you ever wanted to be in internal affairs. But to let somebody sit as a second chair in the back of the room, just to see the minutiae, the process, it gives a lot, just to watch it. They wouldn't allow somebody to sit in, but maybe I can work it out with him, because certainly he doesn't want somebody that's green as green to sit in there. You gotta watch the process, just like here, if you've never been to negotiations, it's good for people to show up and just to see how it works. I'm a big proponent of that, just making it easy for everybody. Because you don't want a guy in there go willy-nilly and objection, he doesn't know what he's doing. That's what student trainings I'm committed to.
Right, the only thing I'd say to you is that when you have an internal affairs investigation, we're not so much interested in your guys getting additional training, we're interested in protecting the rights of the individual who's in there.
Absolutely.
And it's one thing to have a union representative there in case you can't make it. To me, it's a whole different ballgame when you're inviting other people in there, because you also have privacy issues you have to worry about. So I think to that extent, at this point, we'll look at it, but I'm just telling you, as a precursor, I think that's going a little bit too far, in the process. It's not like a, process where you can have a training program and different people come in. You may have sensitive information in there. I mean, it could be a number of things.
It's all sensitive information.
Yeah.
Well, Charles, let me ask you this. You just got out of law school? Did they just throw you into the lions? Or did you go sit with a seasoned attorney and see how he handled them?
In my case, it's been a while, they threw me out there.
I've seen a lot of you guys.
Yeah.
Would you rather have
Right.
sit with a seasoned attorney though?
Oh, I would have loved it, but you had to went to the school of hard knocks.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
it's
But
just,
I understand your point, but the point is that I don't look at internal investigations as a training ground for other folks. To me, that's a much heightened level of scrutiny, because a person could lose their job, you got property rights involved, and therefore you don't want other folks in there unless they absolutely have to be there. And there are other issues from a litigation perspective down the road that you'd want to anticipate.
but I've also sat on the other side of the table when I was a new internal affair investigator, and absolutely I sat in the second chair to see how it's done.
I'm not disputing the efficacy of doing that. All I'm saying is that when it comes to the county process and procedure, the idea is that we limit it to the folks that really need to be there. Okay, and that's fine if you're, we can take into consideration the fact that, okay, if you're not around and you wanna have the designee there, I understand that's a practical and a rational, issue. It's a whole different issue though, when you have a person just sitting back there who's just an extra body and they're listening into the information. It is significant, okay?
Well,
I'm not gonna go into the legal aspects of it, but it's a concern.
I know it's a concern, but these people that we pick as stewards also know that, they come to me with the IA, they already know what's going on. I'm the guy that's just a representative.
Right, but there
What
may
I
be-
try to do is promote, everybody gets my number, and don't go, if it's something that's sensitive. You think it's sensitive, and I have that situation right now in Osceola,
Right.
where she bypassed all the stewards and she called me directly, because she did not know what's going on. And that's what I would prefer, because we know how people are.
Right, right. I mean, and the thing is that even though they may know generally about the case, there may be information or statements that come up during the interview that still would change the color. And it could, I don't wanna waive somebody's right or have a potential person who's under investigation waive a right because they have a second or third party in there. That's not just, I'm going outside the practical, and I'm looking at basically a due process issue down the road. Something I've seen before.
I appreciate your position, but I just,
I'm just being honest with you, I'm just
I'll
telling
be
you.
honest with you, that it makes everybody's job easier.
Yeah.
That when people, if I can't be there and Brian's never said a nice Brian or Mr. Dean here, he's never done it before, and he's, what am I doing there? Well, if he sits on the corner and just listens how the whole thing works out, then he has a little bit more coming in there. If I say, Brian, I can't make it, you need to go.
I can appreciate the advocacy of that, but, you know, as far as the third wheel in there, you know, legally, you know, I have a problem with it on that point.
And I would if I was that investigator. I just want less people in there, the better. I'm just trying from my side of the table, trying to train people up, to do a good job.
Okay.
Moving on, Article 5.
So as we leave that, is it
Well,
what you want added is, if you're not available,
yeah.
is it, the intent is, if the Teamsters
Representative.
representative is not available, then
Those names-
one of the appointed stewards would act in your stead.
Yeah, we'll be afforded the opportunity to act as a representative,
All right.
for a representative of
Okay.
internal affairs.
All right?
Bulletin boards are good,
Yes,
6 is good,
yes.
7 is
Okay,
We just, I think 7-Eleven is the one that we just, and, you know, I just gotta say, arbitration's the way to go.
It's 7, 10, and 10 and 11.
Say again?
It's 10 and 11.
10, 11, well, I tell 11.
okay. Those are what you're disputing, or not
Yeah,
agreeing to.
well, actually, what we mentioned last time was just referring to merit rules.
Right,
For everything except 10 and 11.
okay,
Because
so,
what this does is it adds like 5 more steps than what is present in the merit rules.
so it's deferring to the mayor rule except 10 and 11.
Exactly, yes.
Okay.
Because 10 excludes probationary employees from participating in the grievance process. We didn't really want that to happen. And 11 is the personnel board, which doesn't really have any power to change anything. I mean, that's,
And it can be overturned.
right.
Okay. All right,
I mean, it might be, you know, if their decision was final or actually had some teeth to it, it might be more amenable to us. But I don't anticipate that changing. I don't know if there's any more discussion on the decision or not. On the grievances and appeals.
It's, I just, again, you guys are so far behind the times. There's not other place that they want arbitration. Everywhere I go, arbitrator, because that's the fair thing to do. It's unfair, and it's just, can't agree to it. I don't know why you guys want to, and I know it's the county manager, and I wish he would come and attend to these and just explain it to me. Why do you even want final authority? Why not go to arbitrator? This is 2017. I can't think, and maybe you can give me some examples where there are other places that have your process, that it's the county manager final binding, that's it, and he can overturn a personnel board. Where else?
well, we're in Volusia County today, and that's our process, and that's what we
It's a
propose.
sad process for the working man. It really, really is. You guys are behind the times. What is so bad about a guy having an arbitrator who comes from, I just had one, Motran. Guy came from Jacksonville, doesn't know anybody from anybody, listened to both sides, and he comes, and we both gonna live with the result. But what, that's the way we do things today. And you say, yeah, this is Volusia County, and it's a sad place to work. If you're a working person, you gotta change, Joe. Change with the times. You just can't keep your feet like that. You gotta move with the times. It's just the way to do it. It's the right thing to do, to move towards just a little bit more fair.
Okay, well, today, we're gonna stay on this,
You know what, that might
so
hold
we
up,
might as well just
that might
turn
hold
the
up the
page.
whole contract. Absolutely.
Probably will.
It probably will.
Yep.
And we'll go to impasse, and we'll go in front of the county council, and they'll decide.
Exactly.
feel like there's really not that much holding us up.
Because ultimately, they're the authority here.
Yes, because,
Go
I
ahead.
would agree with you.
yeah,
Go ahead.
the grievance procedure in the merit rule is just my opinion, I've utilized it several times. It's not that bad of a policy. And the only thing that I don't think is fair is, or it's kind of funny to me, is the personnel board is basically making a suggestion, you know, a recommendation, and, I don't know even what the purpose of that is, other than to provide some insulation to the manager, I don't know, but we just want something that's more concrete, you know, so that once the decision is made fairly, it's done and we can move on. you know.
And I don't wanna leave it in the hand of a personnel vote, because that's all political.
The problem you have though is it's part of the charter of the county. It's been that way since they've done it from 1971, they've reinforced it since it's in the charter. So you can't, there's no way we can take it out, because it's mandated through the county charter.
Hmm. Now, a quick legal question for you. Is there a way for us to defer to the merit rules without that provision? With the exception of
10 and 11?
And maybe we come up with
Well-
something different at the end.
Temporary and probationary employees, well, I know probationary employees, you know, they have, specific places in the merit rules that tell them what they can and cannot appeal or grieve, separate from that, separate from the grievance procedure. So,
My feeling about that was.
so you'd be asking to change that as well?
Well, my feeling about that was that they did fare better in the merit rules than they do in this proposal, because they're not totally and completely excluded from participating in the process. In this proposal, they're totally excluded, and I
Well,
don't think
but,
it's fair.
but just, you have to review all of the merit rules
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
when you talk about probationary employees. So I'll just direct you that way too.
All right.
So you'd be asking us to change some of that as well.
We're not asking to change the merit rules, we're just asking for basically the same thing that's in the merit rules. If we can't agree to 10 or 11, then maybe we can come up with something different at the end.
Just understand this, we have to treat all probationary employees the same. Okay? So just take that into consideration as well. We have to treat
Well,
all probationary
I
employees.
feel like
the
that's
same.
not what's happening in this proposal.
Okay.
Because, you know, currently, we just discussed that probationary employees are not, at least not completely excluded from participating in this process in the merit rules. They're completely excluded from participating in this agreement. So this is treating them differently than they're normally treated. That's just, you know, my observation.
Okay,
I think that's our position, is that, you know, we just want something in the end stages of this that is more, I guess, stable, more concrete, you know, than just a suggestion to the manager, hey, we'd like to do this, well, I don't think it's on the level anyway, to me, that's, I don't know how that benefits anyone.
okay.
Anyone have anything about that? I think we're still hung up on A.
8, I guess we'll come back to you with something.
Okay,
9 is,
We're good with that.
we're good there.
we agreed on 10-3.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, I think we just want 10-3 for everyone.
Okay.
And 10-2 can just be, we don't want that.
And 11, I don't think we agreed. Would you be amenable to, reopening each year, one article or two, always on wages and another one?
Is that regard to a multi-year contract?
Let's say we come to a 3-year contract, but every year we'd like to open on wages and one other article, and anything mutually agreed. What we got in here is only when we mutually agree.
We'll look into that, take it under consideration, it's a multi-year.
It's like you guys are going through your budget time right now.
It's like a window, a set thing. It's, I got it.
Yeah. Twelve to B. You know, the only problem you had in 13 with Oz, other than yours, is that last paragraph. Because we added the word benefits.
Okay,
See, what the problem, is when you say benefits, no, if somebody else gets a day off or increased personally, we would like to get that too when we talk about benefits. Now, we know healthcare is probably the hot potato nobody wants to talk about, because the increases every year. But we're talking about maybe increased bereavement leave or something like that. We're not talking a huge thing. I mean, that's the one word that we can't agree on is benefits. And I think if you throw that back in there, we could probably sign off on that article. It's just that one word that really separates us, benefits.
And what are you defining that to be now? I mean, just so I understand.
Well, what's other than wages? Benefits. What's benefits? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you're talking about health, you're talking about, I mean,
Yeah, but health, you guys are just gonna do it for the same thing for everybody.
right.
Now, let's say the deputies negotiate some more PL time. They're not. Let's say they get, you're never gonna, everybody's gonna get the same holidays, because whatever's recognized is recognized. But I'm talking peripheral stuff.
So what you're really saying is, it's really whittling it down, you're gonna whittle it down to what you're really saying is, well, if the other unions get X, Y, and Z, I want a me too.
Yeah. And this is almost a me too, pretty close, but it's the one word benefit that's keeping us apart. And don't you think if somebody else gets a better package, we should get it too? Treat everybody fairly across the board, right?
I mean, it really depends upon, what the issues are, each union has different points,
Sure.
and the different costs associated with it.
Absolutely.
And we'd have to look at that. I mean, to me, the definition of benefits, I think we have to really, define what we're talking about. It's one thing to say, well, if we get a 3-year contract, I want a me too, then it's just easier to.
Well, let me work on that, specifically what we mean, and maybe we can come to an agreement next time. What
it would be better if you spelled it out,
Yeah.
just like we just did with the training. I mean, it's difficult for us to agree to an article where
You don't
it's
know the
open.
cost of it.
Absolutely, so,
But you would know that if we have that in here, and
Mhm.
negotiate with the
Absolutely.
other group,
absolutely.
it's gonna affect me over here. Yeah, we'll work on that.
That's contract 101. That's what that is, I mean, it is. So, it would help.
Okay, we'll work on that.
We still need to provide a pay study for that article also. At least on our end, I didn't know when to do that.
Yeah, I have all the information, put it together. They warned us last night, we might not wanna do it,
Mm.
And what team, was there an issue with O2?
Yeah, we discussed that earlier,
Yeah.
with the training, hour.
That's what I was saying, you have it in two different places now that we've discovered what the 1 hour is. So, we certainly don't wanna have anything that conflicts in an agreement at all. So,
Yeah, and I think it's fair to say, you know, it's an hour, and you're done. You get trained, clean up, get back in your uniform, get back in service within an hour. It's not an hour of, you know, 15 minutes and get dressed and 30 minutes to do your hair. It's an hour.
You have 1 hour to do whatever it is you want
Yes,
to do.
yes, I think that benefits everyone. Most people, I think, are doing that.
Hey, chief,
Well,
what do you do for, Brian here? Brian Saul goes out of his way above and beyond. He lifts a print, he gets a DNA swab. He does something above and beyond just normal patrol duties, man. He makes a heck of a arrest on like a major violent
We
felony.
have an awards committee that he can be nominated for something above and beyond that's entertained, and then we have always provided the award
So what do you do, give him a plaque?
Yeah.
Certificate?
in front of everybody.
Well, want some time off? Would you be amenable to that?
we don't have that as a proposal, so
I'm
it's
just-
not.
As a benefit.
It really wouldn't be for the chief to agree to or not agree to today. We don't have that
I'm
really
just
as a,
picking his brain.
as a proposal.
I know that Sheriff Chitwood has thought of that. Find a prank, solve a crime, get a day off.
Just want to do that.
What's that?
I don't know if they're still doing it.
The county has a Caught in the Act award that anybody in Beach can nominate a peer for, or management can nominate anybody for, and it comes out of here, and they get a gift certificate. So, how much is that change generally? I'm trying to remember.
I think it's
$15.
I think it's
Yeah.
$15.
They get
$10.
something.
Where do you get the $10 to?
15.
15? What's it for?
You can pick
Different gift cards.
pick
of
gift cards.
restaurants,
Publix,
Amazon.
grocery stores, and Walmart.
So-
and
It's just an answer to recognition,
I got you.
which is what you're after. Okay, so there's different levels of recognition.
Sure, okay.
I don't think we had, do we have an issue with 1401?
No.
I think we can just check that one off.
So we'll agree to 1401.
Yeah, that was just a uniform plate.
All right. So really, we're at 1402, which you've also included in your training.
Yeah, I mean, in 14, it's not even that particular statement that's problematic, it's just that
What is
the morning drill is the problem, and a lot of our employees do choose to utilize that for their training hour, which isn't a problem, I think it's great, you know, to do a drill with the other lifeguards, but I don't think we want them to be required to do that, because just not everybody can do it. You know, right now, especially if it's not busy, I can let most of my employees train on my shift, you know, if it's my call, you know, I know it's not, there's nothing crazy going on, I can free up one person to do a training hour. And when that person's done, maybe I can take another person. Maybe I can let 2 of them do drill in the morning, but I can't let everybody do drill in the morning. And if that's all they're gonna be allowed to do, then those other people aren't gonna be able to do the training for the day.
Let me ask you this. With regards to, you getting your people rotated through training, if you have something in a contract that mandates you have to have 1 hour training, and then you're just, because it's gonna happen.
Well,
It's
what
gonna
we
happen,
asked
you're
for
gonna
was
be so busy.
for it to be at the supervisor's discretion.
Okay.
Not that it's guaranteed, it's someone makes a judgment call there. And I think that person has to be responsible for that, you know, it's their responsibility to assess the operational availability for that person to be gone for an hour, if we can do that or not, and then to say, okay, go ahead and go.
Okay.
I would agree with you that it shouldn't be, you get guaranteed an hour of training every day and no one can have a say otherwise, and that's not fair.
So your number 8 here, each bargaining unit employee will be afforded 1 hour of training per shift. That's not a mandate. They'll be afforded.
Is that in the original agreement?
It's in yours, yeah. It's just that training that we were going over, because you said that was the physical training with 1402 is. So,
If that's what it says, that's not what it's meant to be. It's meant to be a status quo item. basically what we're doing now. I think
Okay.
Ray just mentioned policy gives us 45 minutes right now. Everybody takes an hour, we call it training hour. So what we're saying is, let's just incorporate your training, you're getting dressed and undressed and ready to put back in, let's just put it all in an hour, done with it. Let the supervisor decide whether or not that person can train. And I really honestly don't believe that, well, I know it's happened, but any supervisor that's working right now is gonna say, oh, it's Memorial Day weekend, and it's crazy, and there's 5,000 cars on the beach, and 25,000 people, and it's 100 rescues going on. I'm not gonna let anybody train in that environment. I don't think anybody's gonna do that, because we're responsible for what happens, so that's my take on it, let the supervisor decide. Nobody knows whether it's appropriate or not better than that person who's there all the time, every day, and responsible for the outcome. That's our opinion on it.
Would the supervisors be in contact with the deputy chief or beach services director under that model? It's not busy, I want to rotate people through?
I think it does happen occasionally.
Or is there a level that's on the beach all the time above you that you can talk to?
Generally, yes.
That says, that you communicate with, it's slow, we're gonna start rotational training?
There's not always a deputy chief or a director available. If we're working on the weekends, sometimes
Right.
they won't be available.
Is there somebody else?
There's captains,
Okay.
currently, as they're called.
All right, I'm just asking.
Yeah, we talked about June's agreement before, and that's generally what happens, I think most of the time with that, we're on the same page. I don't want people to be training while it's busy, it doesn't make any sense for me to allow that. I get what you're saying, that you'll be required to allow people to do that, and I tend to agree with you. I just think that the supervisor is a good person to make that call, and if the county's concern is that it's somebody outside the county who wants to make that call, I don't think it would be a huge problem as long as somebody's available to do that, We don't wanna get caught up where there's nobody, sometimes, there could be nobody above us at that moment, and then nobody can train if that's the case.
Understood. All right, well, let us take that back, okay, and discuss it. So supervisor's discretion, not mandatory, based on beach activity.
Yeah, I want it to be allowed, we want these people to be allowed to train, and to be provided the training hour at supervisor's discretion. It's operational. And we could always define what that means, somewhere down the line. But I think we all know
Okay.
what we're talking about. It's what we're doing now every day, basically, it seems to be just fine.
We have a couple of points, and we'll take those back as well and talk about it. You still have a couple of things, right, on the long guns, sort of the package, the whole package deal?
I think what we should do is, let us get that together, because we can't give you a time frame. We'll get it
Okay.
together.
All right.
And then I'll contact Tom
Okay.
and set a date.
All right,
Because I want to come back with a whole answer for
it'd be nice.
That'd be good.
That would be nice, because that's a big piece here,
Yeah,
really.
give you a lot of answers that you guys can digest, so I think that's what we need to do. But I think we're making great progress, I
Okay.
think we really are. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Anything else? Anybody?
Next meeting.
You guys are quiet on the
We're
end?
not gonna wait.
Would you like to get this out?
Thank you, Gary.
Okay, from now on, I just see it.
We're adjourned.
This is Thompson.
So Gary, you will send us some dates on when you're ready.
Absolutely.
Okay. You guys have a safe weekend.
Yeah,
Got a lot going on.